I don't know what I'm going with, but I'm going with something. Page number 69.
Okay, it's number 3 on the page.
Oh, wow. Okay. At the outbreak of the Second World War, zookeepers killed all the poisonous insects and snakes in London Zoo in case it was bombed and they escaped.
You know what? That's actually smart.
See, you know what? That's thinking ahead of time, knowing the Blitzkrieg is coming.
Yeah.
And knowing that, you could very, very easily get...
This is going to be a rough one. This is going to be... It's going to be tetchy.
Hey, NarendraTheComic here!
Nonsense,
Yes, and right now we're going to be doing our review of Shang-Chi. Now, this one's late. We are very, very late to this. And there are many reasons for that. One, we thought this one might actually be good, so we were leaving it on the back burner.
Yeah.
Because Thor 4 looks like a disaster. We haven't seen that yet. I think one of my major qualms with the movie was that it could have been so much more.
Yeah. I feel like we're in this odd space with Phase 4 in general. Outside of Spider-Man, everything's been either meh or ill.
For the movies,
For the films, yeah.
absolutely.
And even with a lot of the TV stuff, it's been a bit hit and miss. And within the context of Phase 4, Shang-Chi, mediocre.
Yeah.
But within
fair.
the context of the whole of the MCU, it's technically subpar.
It's subpar. I would say for Phase 4, it probably might sneak a 6. But overall, it might be in the 4 territory. And that really speaks to how bad Phase 4 has been, not how bad this movie is really. Because I think overall the storytelling in Phase 4 has been so weak. They've been stringing together these stories and these characters that don't work, that no one wants and people don't really care about because they are new characters. And yes, it takes time to build them into the universe so people care. But don't tell me Shang-Chi could have been film number 1. Iron Man.
Yeah.
Could this have been that in 2008? No. Take out the idea of we live in a different world now. 2022 is different from 2008. But you put Spider-Man No Way Home, Spider-Man Homecoming as the first movie in the MCU and it's still gonna do bonkers, right?
Yeah, it fits.
You put Thor as the first movie or Captain America the First Avenger, you can build out the world.
Or Guardians.
I just don't see this movie being at that level.
I feel like the actual story was perfectly okay. The characterizations, I enjoyed them. I just feel like this film has been pushed into the idea of the MCU, but it's like a puzzle piece that doesn't exactly fit. We're like trying to cram it into the puzzle, make it fit. But you have to trim off edges to make it fit into the MCU. It didn't feel like an MCU film.
I think that's common with Phase 4. They feel like their own projects, which in some ways is good because it takes away from the standard cookie cutter idea of a Marvel movie. But there's a reason why MCU movies have been unbelievably successful over the last 15 years.
The formula.
And some people don't like the formula, and I get it, and I appreciate it, because sometimes it can get boring. But I think Phase 4 has gone in the wrong direction. And this is not just a slight at Shang-Chi, because I would say, in terms of ranking for Phase 4, Spider-Man No Way Home, number 1 in the films. Then, it might be Doctor Strange, The Multiverse of Madness, which was not a good movie.
Yeah.
Terrible. Misdirection was so see-through.
Yeah.
They tried to do things that would make you think, oh, wow, that's amazing, and it just turned out to be boring and bland. Then maybe it's Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
Then Black Panther Wakanda Forever.
I would agree.
I don't know. Eternals and Black Widow were also dog shit. And Thor 4 looks like a disaster, so it's not been good. And this one looks like it might be good in relation to that. But overall, the CGI was very, very poor.
Yeah.
They spent a lot of money on this, between $150 and $170 million, and you could see the lack of the budget on screen. My problem is, it was a 2-hour, 10-minute movie. Cut the time down to 1 hour 50, and then you have more money to spend on a smaller amount of time. Then the CGI will not look as bad, because the hand-to-hand combat stuff was great.
Yeah, really
The
good.
martial arts stuff was pretty good. Sometimes it was a bit too flowy, but then it's taking its lead from Chinese cinema.
Yeah.
So in that case, I'm okay with it being stylized in the way it was.
When you watched it, it was really easy to fall into it and really enjoy the flow of the movements and the action sequences. The climax of the film right at the end in the realm of THOR, everything sort of fell apart. I don't know why they spent so much money CGIing these magical creatures that were on screen for like 12, 13 seconds, that then disappeared. We never saw them again. They ran away, where we could have spent the money on the dragon,
Yeah.
on the Dweller in the Darkness, on some of the sequences around the water and stuff, because it looked okay, but it should have looked better.
It looked like a film from 2006. That is where I'd put it. Some of the CGI was good, some of it was okay, but big chunks of it were poor. And I don't think that is up to standard for an MCU movie or any movie nowadays, because it just seems too cheap. Now we see some of the greatest CGI we've ever seen in human history. And now we're getting this. I do feel we've kind of gone backwards. When we look at 2008, 2010, 2012, there was unbelievable CGI going on. And I feel we've kind of regressed in what's been acceptable. Saying, oh, that's all right, we'll allow that to go out. But really, it's not good enough. And that's just from the CGI point of view. From the story point of view, it was very, very see-through. I don't want to say it felt empty, because there was a family story there. But the performances were god-awful, okay?
Yeah.
From Awkwafina, bad. From Simu Liu, bad.
Not good.
Michelle Yeoh, not in the movie a lot. She was good. Tony Leung.
Oh, he killed it.
He gave the best performance out of everyone. I believed him, I understood his motivations, and I wanted him, to a degree, to win.
Yeah.
Even though I know, no, he's got to lose. He's going to lose. He's doing the wrong thing here. You felt for him because of the way he put forward that character. Simu Liu was terrible.
Yeah, some of the delivery of his lines, it looked like he'd just been plonked into the scene and he was just saying them off a sheet of paper, which I don't understand because this is meant to be a family story, and in some ways, a lot of people looked at this story as the Asian American emotional experience.
Right.
I think there was a lot of talk about how Asian Americans, a lot of the time, because their families are first generation immigrants, maybe the kids are first or second generation immigrants, a lot of time is spent forgetting about emotions and just getting it done. You know?
Which is right, to a degree.
Which makes sense when you're moving to a whole new place, you need to fix up your life, your family's all with you. But people were looking at this film saying this is the catharsis that a lot of Asian Americans needed in facing their parents, emotions, all the stress they went through. But that was not delivered in Simu Liu.
I think that was delivered in Awkwafina, which is why, even though her performance wasn't great, I'm okay with it because of the character she was portraying, even though she was annoying as fuck. Simu Liu doesn't get that pass for me with this. His performance was boring, the character wasn't very well written, and I think there was a level of miscommunication from what the trailers showed the film to be and what the film really was.
Yeah.
Because I thought this was going to be a hand-to-hand combat fiasco, a lot of shit going on at all times, John Wick-esque almost.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that at all. And then Wong just shows up, which we saw in the trailers with Abomination, and he's calling Abomination Emil Blonsky like he knows the guy.
Buddy.
What on earth was that? I didn't know what was happening there. And it also seemed like the Sorcerer Supreme was pandering to the crowd, cheering up, being like, yeah, I just beat him.
Yeah, we were trying
That felt weird.
to figure out why that was there and why Wong was in it with Abomination and why they were there in Macau. Maybe he gets like a time out where he gets to go to Macau, beat some people up, and Wong is there as the person who can transport him because you can't actually transport Abomination.
Yeah, he's a bit too big of a fella, isn't he?
Right, but with the circle portal, he can be transported with no problems, and should he try to run away, Wong can actually catch him. And take him back. But I don't know why any of that was actually in the film.
Yeah, it felt weird. I think it was just a way to introduce Wong in the world that they were making. Because then it comes back at the end where Wong is in the end credit scene. And so are multiple Avengers. Bruce Banner, Captain Marvel, and Wong. It did lead to other questions, which is, what are the rings? Where are they from? And what beacon are they giving off? Because the one thing that sprung to mind was Kang.
Yeah.
The rings are from the quantum realm, or they're from a timeline in which Kang is already existing.
Yes.
Because Kang's far in the future, he's not in the past. And he's probably set these rings in the past so that he can find a way to get to the rings to help him get out of the quantum realm in the future.
Yes.
I would think. I'm trying to come up with some type of plan that makes sense. It does mean that Kang is indeed going to get out of the quantum realm, probably kill Ant-Man in Ant-Man, maybe the Wasp, and then going to come for Shang-Chi. Something else. The rings were purported to be stronger than the Infinity Stones in the trailers. That was going viral.
Yeah.
It was breaking the internet. People saying, wait, what are you talking about here? That doesn't seem to be the case because they didn't include that line in the movie.
Yeah.
And they didn't show the rings to be more powerful than the stones. The rings are powerful, don't get me wrong. But the rings in the comics are really strong. The rings here just seem to give you extra durability, longer life, enhanced strength, and super jumps.
Yeah, and some like energy manipulation. You can maneuver them to do things for you.
Kamehameha.
Yeah, Kamehameha reference and all.
I don't get that. It is a martial arts film, and its core is Chinese cinema. Why on earth do you bring up Kamehameha? Why do you bring up Gangnam Style?
Yeah.
It's like Asians are not all the same.
Yeah, not a monolith.
But in this, it really felt like it was all together.
Yeah, I don't know. I think maybe when they were creating this film, they said, oh, we want to do this for all Asian Americans.
Right.
So they included mythical beasts from across Asia in Talo, and they included the use of karaoke, loved across Asia, Japan,
Korea.
Philippines, Korea. That's where it's been popularized in the past few years in the West. But you look at what they did, and it's a Chinese story.
Yeah.
So it kind of feels like they were like, oh, as an afterthought,
we'll just throw this in. Yeah, it didn't really, it felt weird. It felt weird. But, again, the performances could have been better. Tony Leung, honestly, gave a great performance.
Brilliant. One thing I do want to know, and I really do want to find this out, who is the Dweller in the Darkness? Is this something from the comics? Is this something that's been brought up now that's like really obscure?
I don't know. I've never heard of it. But I've not read a lot of Shang-Chi, so I can't tell you what's true and what's not. I know for a fact the Great Protector is not something. I've never heard of that. Maybe Dweller in the Dark is, but I can't pull it from my head. But the Great Protector is definitely not in the comics. It will be now. But then with all this stuff, with the Great Protector, the Dweller in the Darkness, and Talo being a extra plane of existence almost, and they came to protect Earth from certain other creatures, it seems like the Heavenly Cities might be involved, and Iron Fist is probably connected to Talo somehow. Talo might be one of the other Heavenly Cities that they're adding in to the lore so that you can introduce an Iron Fist from Kunlun. That's what I'm thinking.
I see it.
Because you have to introduce these characters somehow, and I think this would be a good way to introduce Iron Fist. Just make Iron Fist Danny Rand. You don't have to cast Finn Jones, but don't change Danny Rand's character to be something he's not, because it's a terrible idea. His whole point is he is an outsider.
The music in this film, about 70% of the time, didn't fit.
One of the worst parts of the movie.
I don't know why we went from traditional Chinese music brought to the current day to hip-hop.
The Anderson .Paak. You don't have to do that. It doesn't make it better because you did it one way or another. But in terms of the storytelling, whenever this music came on, it was zero because it didn't fit properly. And this is us going in wanting it to be good. We said this could be good. And it turned out to be below average. Anyway, guys, if you enjoyed this video, please like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel down there if you didn't. Shang-Chi himself gonna come after you. You don't want that, no, do they want?
No.
No. So just subscribe anyway to avoid that. I've been NarendraTheComic.
I've been on Sensei.
She's been on Sensei. You've been Graham. We'll see you next time. That's tomorrow if you don't know. Make a video every single day. Been doing it every day for over 1,500 days now. We ain't stopping until we get to 10,000 subscribers. So do subscribe. Pop back again tomorrow for some more quality shitsy content. So hashtag never not here. Just how it goes. Also bring the bakwas. Bakwas means nonsense in Punjabi. We also bring a lot, do a little, but we do indeed bring the quality shitty content on a daily basis. So see you tomorrow. More of the same, slightly different, but essentially the very same. Once more, see you then. Skadoosh.
I got you! I got you! Take that, you friggin' psycho! I got you!